when you have an abundance of fruit, vegetables that you can dehydrate. Take advantage of that dehydrator that you have or the oven that you're using. Today at Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona, we are going to dehydrate lemons because lemons are in an abundance right now. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of those seeds and I'm going to show you how I get them ready to plant so that I can have free trees also. Let's go get those lemons. And we're actually going to go over to Mom and Dad's house because their one lemon tree is stacked, packed, crazy with lemons. And my dad lets me pick them anytime I want to. So this is Mom's tree, and she has these little deer. They're just freestanding. They're about, the mama deer is about 3 feet tall. It's craziness. But look at all these lemons. So I have my clippers, and you can pop them, but they're just so packed in there. I want to make sure that I don't damage the tree at all, so I'm just using my clippers. Now, a lemon tree can have flowers, it can have unripe fruit and ripe fruit all at the same time. And so you just want to be careful not to damage any future lemons that you might be having. So I'm just throwing it in a bowl, and I'm actually going to fill that entire bowl up, and you won't even see a dent in there. So I'm going to grab some of them and I'm going to put them in my sink and add some water so I can just wash them off. Now, they don't have any chemicals on them at all, but it can get dusty from the sandy soils. And so I'm going to clean those all off. And then I'm going to take a sharp knife, cut off both ends, make sure that my lemon is good. Sometimes they sit on the tree too long and they get a little dry, and I don't use those for dehydrating. And I'm just going to take that and make as many slices as I can. I want them fairly thin. And so I'm just going to go through there, and I'll get about 13, 14 slices out of that, just that one lemon. So these are my trays for the little dehydrator that I have down there. If I find one that is too thick, I'll just slice it one more time. And it's kind of like a puzzle because I want to be able to fit as many as possible. So I'll take them off, I'll put them back on, I'll rearrange them, I'll cut some in half, and I'll just try to make it so that I can just fill up all 8 trays of my dehydrator. And now I'm going to cut some slices. So here they all are, 8 stacked up there. And I'll show it to you on the top, and you'll be able to see some of the half slices, but you can tell how thin they are. And on mine, depending on how you lay the tray, there's more or less airspace. So you can flip it around and it sits closer to the shelf below, but I want a lot of airspace so that they can dry. So on mine, I click the set button, you use the dial, and I'm going to start at 8 hours and just see how it does. I click set again, and I can change the temperature. Now, I really want about 135, but on my dial, it's either going to be 131 or it's going to be 140. So we're going with 140. And then I don't have to press the set again. I'm just going to press the start button. Those little squiggly lines start to flash, and I know it is working. And those beautiful lemons are going to get dried so that I can rehydrate them later when I want to use them. I'm actually going to run it until they are really dry. And I like to always check on both sides. And it ended up taking about 14 hours at the 140. And I'm going to take all those seeds that I saved. Actually, I didn't even save all of them. There was just tons of seeds in some of them. Some of the lemons didn't have any seeds in them. And so I soaked them overnight. Anything that was floating, I took out. These all sunk to the bottom. And so they should be viable. It works the same as like tomato seeds. So I'm going to flip those over on some paper towels, and I'm going to spread those out so that they're actually not touching one another. And I'm going to let that dry on this little side counter for 2 days. I want them to be completely dried out. See, I'm just still pushing them so they're not touching. But you can see the difference when they're all the way dry. See how much more white they are. Now, any of those ones that got cut, you can see how dark that is. I'm not going to actually use those. I'm going to leave them on the towel for right now, but I'm not going to plant those. I'm going to roll that towel up, and I'm going to fold it in half, doing this with one hand because I'm holding the camera, and I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag. It's going to go in the refrigerator for 2 days. And there it is. It's been the 2 days. And so I have a 72 cell, it's just a Jiffy pot. And so I soaked them the day before. I'm taking a toothpick and kind of loosening that soil before I put the seeds in there. I'm just going to go through all 72 cells and do that. Now, do I need to make that many trees? No, but I have that many seeds and I have this tray, and so that's what we're doing. So they're out of the refrigerator. And again, anything that's got that dark where it's got sliced, I'm not going to plant those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the seed sideways, and I'm just going to fill the whole tray first before I start to push it down, because that way I won't miss any of them. And see, they're all laying in there. And then it's really easy. I'm just going to take my finger really and just press that in there so that it's good contact with the soil. See, press it right in there. And then just move the soil over top of it. It doesn't need any light right now. And so it can just sit over on the counter and wait for the 2 to 3 weeks before they start to sprout. Now, are they always true to seed? Not always, but a lot of them are. And so I've just put the plastic on top. Well, I hope you are looking at what you have in abundance and that you can dehydrate. And not just dehydrate, can you take some of those seeds and make new plants, trees, shrubs out of those? So this is Sandy at Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. Always like, subscribe, share with the world, and I will give you an update because it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for those seeds to break through and start growing some plants.